cheap full body tracking. If you have been with this channel for a while, you know that this is what we like to focus on. Now, while I wouldn't necessarily call today's product cheap, it is the cheapest form of lighthouse tracked full body, meaning millimeter accuracy tracking of your movements, which is something a lot of people are very interested in. These are the Tundra Trackers, a cheaper alternative to Vive trackers, or Vive pucks, whatever you want to call them. For the longest time, the only lighthouse full body tracking that we've had is Vive pucks, and these are unfortunately quite expensive. A lot of people don't want to shell out all that cash. So it was about time that somebody came out with something cheaper. About last year, Tundra Labs started their Kickstarter for Tundra Trackers. Now, while I didn't get on the early bird special, so I am actually quite late to the party, I did manage to grab myself 3 Tundra Trackers and a Tundra dongle. So that is exactly what we're going to be taking a look at today. But I think in order to do that correctly, we're gonna need more space. Back to the old set. So here we finally are. The Tundra Tracker. Let me tell you, it is as tiny as people were making it out to be. I myself never bought Vive pucks. My main has been the SteamVR trackers, and I have absolutely loved them. They have been getting so much better throughout the months, and overall it's just a fantastic little device. I have a bunch of videos on them in case you guys don't know what this is. But comparing them to the Tundra Tracker is pretty much the same size. They're almost identical. They're not very heavy at all, and tying them onto your body is quite simple. You get some Velcro straps with them in order to attach them to your body, but of course you've got your standard tripod mount on them in case you need that for whatever reason, and switching them out is really simple. You've got 2 screws at the bottom of the Tundra Tracker, and you just replace it with the tripod mount. It's an incredibly simple design, and overall I'm impressed as to how much they could fit into this little size. So first of all, for those of you that haven't seen yesterday's video, let's start off with a little unboxing. The Tundra Trackers come in this little box. Of course, they actually ended up coming in a much larger box, and I got the bundle with 3 trackers and a Tundra dongle, which allows me to connect all of those 3 trackers to that one dongle. Surprisingly enough though, the dongle wasn't actually in this box. It was in a separate little plastic container that I ended up throwing away with the big box. Thankfully, it's here now. But it comes in this very nice box, which is actually a hard shell, and opening it up, you've got room for cables, you've got room for those mounts that I was telling you guys about, and as many trackers as you could possibly have, and of course, the dongle too, which is as well why I'm so surprised that it wasn't there. Overall, unboxing experience pretty simple, but I am quite happy about the fact that it came with this case. As I love to travel, this is gonna come in quite handy. They charge via Type-C, and I mean, what else is there to say? Well, now with that little simple unboxing out of the way, I, of course, already know how they work as I've been testing them all of last night, but I think it's time to show you guys. So, let's grab our Tundra Trackers and hop into SteamVR. Setting the trackers up was incredibly simple. All you do is you plug in your dongle and pair them through SteamVR as you normally would with any other SteamVR tracker. If you're using a Pimax, I would recommend first disconnect the Pimax, connect all your trackers through SteamVR, then connect the Pimax back. If you don't do this, I've found it'll actually try to connect the dongles through the Pimax, and then you won't have anything to connect your controllers to. But once all that was done, it was time to gear up. Now, I do feel the need to mention that I had so many issues while trying to set this up, but it was not Tundra's fault. At first, when I actually set everything up, it was going pretty smoothly, but then all of a sudden, all the trackers just started glitching out, and everything started just crying for help. As I realized this was the fault of my right index controller, which I mentioned in yesterday's video, decided to drift away every 2 minutes. It was not really noticeable, but when it happened, everything just kind of exploded. So I swapped that controller out for a Pimax Sword controller, and we were ready to continue. As you can see, I tried out a bunch of different poses, jumped up and down, almost killed myself, almost. And you know, we did the standards. I sat down to show you guys that yes, these things are, of course, they're going to be good at showing you sitting down. These are lighthouse tracked, and they're really, really well tracked. Of course, I have a pretty small play space, and sometimes they were being obstructed by my bed, so you do have to forgive them for kind of floating away sometimes, but that is entirely the fault of this room and it being so tiny that I can't even record the videos I'd want to. But other than that, these things performed absolutely flawlessly. Of course, we did some dancing, we laid down on the ground, did some yoga exercises, you know, as you do, because that's what VRChat is for, right? Doing your yoga exercises every morning. Then here is the supposed almost dying moment where I attempted to do the cool thing where you kind of roll up and stand up, and yeah, that didn't exactly go as planned. I immediately found an issue to these that the SteamVR trackers don't have, which I've become accustomed to. Occlusion. Yes, anytime I would move my legs up to my body, it would obstruct the waist tracker, and therefore that thing wouldn't know what the hell was happening. So performing a handstand up against a wall was impossible for me, pretty much. Unless I had the tracker behind my back, I wouldn't be able to perform a handstand in these, which I was able to do with the SteamVR trackers, no problem. But of course, that is pretty understandable. These things are lighthouses tracked, which means occlusion is going to be an issue. No more sleeping under blankets, I guess. That being said, that's also their biggest upside, you know? They are lighthouse tracked, they're perfect at tracking your location when the lighthouses can see them, and your avatar is going to clone your movements from the real world exactly 1:1. They're tiny, they are incredibly comfortable, you barely feel they're on your body after a while. I know that some people put them on their shoes, but I tried doing that today and miserably failed and gave up, so we're not going to attempt that ever again. The unfortunate part though is the Velcro straps that they give you are way too long. Maybe it's just me, but they are way too long. Like, I can wrap the waist tracker around my body 3 times before it actually is tight enough to not move around and flop around, which I think is a problem unless these aren't for your body, in which case, I don't know. Overall, going through all of this, I had this question in the back of my mind constantly. This or my SteamVR? What am I going to be using? Because I could use my SteamVR and use these as elbow trackers in games like Neos that support 11-point tracking. While these things are more accurate and they do track better than the SteamVR trackers, they do cause issues, like occlusion, for example, which to me is a pretty big problem because I like making some really weird movements in VRChat. And of course, SteamVR doesn't have those movement issues. Yes, these things aren't going to drift over time like the SteamVR trackers might, but is that trade-off worth it for me? I don't know. I guess I'm going to have to do way more tests and find out. That, plus this room, as I said, is so tiny that sometimes the lighthouses just can't see these. Either the chair is obstructing them or the bed is obstructing them. It's really annoying, trust me. But other than that, these things are incredible. If you guys are looking for an alternative to Vive trackers, Vive pucks, and you're looking for a smaller and cheaper one, these things I would say work just as well. Of course, I can't say that because I don't have the Vive trackers, but they are lighthouse tracked. I mean, it is exactly what a Vive puck is, except maybe the Vive puck would be less prone to occlusion because it is larger. And those of you that have them, please share your opinions down below, as you probably have larger play spaces than me and would be able to tell people how incredibly amazing these things are for doing front flips, which I did backwards. I'm very happy that I bought these. It's an incredible product. It's tiny. Look at it. Can't get over how small this is. Look at this. Why is this so long? This is completely unnecessary. These things are really cool and they work really well. And of course, my favorite part, they've got Type-C. As I said, if you're looking for something as an alternative to Vive pucks, these things are probably your go-to. If you mind the occlusion, I'd say slime trackers. Slime trackers have gotten so much better throughout the months, and honestly, I'm really impressed. But overall, I'd call this a pretty big success. I did all I could in this tiny play space, and I mean, it's all I'm going to be able to do. So I'm showing you kind of my realistic, what I would be doing with these, you know? Yes, sometimes I would jump up and down on top of the bed or do other stupid things, but we can't do that right now because reasons. But other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like. If you guys disliked it, I guess this button works too, but please tell me why down in the comment section below. I hope you all have a fantastic day or night. If you guys are interested in future videos like this, you know, I'm going into diversity, so, you know, make sure to check out our Discord and our Reddit down below to be notified of future things happening and, you know, to join the community. Thank you so much to the Patreon supporting this channel. You guys help me out a ton, paying my bills, paying for my subscriptions, and just overall making these videos better. So thank you so much for that. If you guys would like to support the channel in any way, shape, or form, we've got sick mugs down below that boost your FPS by 300% and merch that does not put a jet on your body. And as usual, in case you guys want to be notified about future content coming up on the channel, make sure to smack that subscribe button with your forehead, ding my bell, and see you again in the next video. Peace.